KGVO Missoula Sports Talk tonight and streaming online at Newstalk, KGVO.com.
Denny Bedard's back from a weekend of fun. The Gurns is back from a weekend of fun. It's Wednesday night in Missoula, Montana. It's got to be Sports Talk tonight, Denny.
Where the fun continues. Our mirth never stops, I'll tell you.
It never stops, Denny. Live from the KGVO studios. Remember, we are streaming worldwide on Newstalk.KGVO.com, on the AM dial 1290, on the FM side 98.3. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Talk Back. Podcasts online at Newstalk.KGVO.com. Our phone number is always 406-721-1290. Denny, how was your trip to the Mecca that is Green Bay?
Yeah, it was really, really exciting. You know, exhausting, but very exciting. Left here on Friday morning, and we flew Alaska, which I was impressed with. I don't fly that much anymore, but enjoyed Alaska Airlines. Although to get to Milwaukee, naturally you got to go to Seattle. You know, that makes a lot of sense, and hang out there. But then Seattle direct to Milwaukee, and we still got in about 5 in the afternoon. So Saturday we went to the Lambeau Field tour. You know, got the tour. And
did you do the leap in the stands?
No, I didn't do I was sizing it up, though, Gurns. I was thinking, well, let's see now.
Where's the ladder?
If I have a ladder and maybe one of those springboards, maybe I can vault. I can do the Lambeau vault. Although we did get, you get to go down on the field in the tour, and so we were right down there at the back of the end zone where the leaping occurs. When there wasn't a lot of leaping on Saturday or Sunday, unfortunately for the Packers, but yes, did the stadium tour on Saturday. We stayed in Milwaukee, so you got to commute. You got to take the rent-a-car, so we ended up going to Green Bay twice, and that's a couple hours each way. So there was a lot of driving involved. We went and did the stadium tour, and then the Hall of Fame, which is just a self-guided thing. And then, of course, Jennifer had to load up in the Pro Shop, the Pro Plaza, the Pro Megaplex. I mean, that Packer souvenir store, it dwarfs some malls, I believe.
When you were down on the field, should she bend down and pick up a blade of grass and eat it?
Didn't think about that. I wonder. I'll bet people do that. I'll bet people snitch blades of grass.
Well, there might be a blade on her bottom of her shoe still, Denny.
Did not even occur to me. Because I'm far more honest than you. It was, but it was cool. We were over the tunnel. They had a Legends Day where they, introduced a few Packers from days gone by, and Chuck Merciel. There were some names that I did not recognize because I'm not, don't follow the Packers that closely, but everybody recognizes the name Bart Starr, and they were actually able to get Bart, brought him down the tunnel, and Bart's in very, very poor health, and days, obviously numbered, but I don't know. I assume that maybe he came down the tunnel in a wheelchair, but he was not having anything to do with the wheelchair. He had people on either side of him, just kind of, he was walking, but they were sort of walking him, but he made it a few steps out on the field, waited the crowd, it just went nuts, and so they acknowledged a few of their legends at the game, and just the atmosphere being, I think you could say that about any NFL stadium, but just the fact that there's an awful lot of ghosts in a stadium like Lambeau Field, and that made it feel pretty cool.
Oh yeah, well that sounds like you had an awesome time. I like bye weeks.
Yeah, you took advantage of it too, right?
I did. Actually, I got taken advantage of down in Las Vegas.
Careful now.
Oh boy, I hate that place so much. Hate flying, number one. Oh, the weather was pretty good. It was mid-70s, low 80s. It was sunny out.
Sounds wonderful.
Vegas, I think, is getting back to where they were before the tragedy down there. And but no, had a good time, and had a good couple nights, then had a bad night. So I didn't win anything, but I got a lot of good memories, Denny. A lot of good memories.
You got your butt kicked, didn't you?
First 2 nights I did great, and I gave it all back and then some.
Yeah, that's the way that usually works. So
I don't keep too much track though, so I never know truly what happened.
So you, unlike me, you at least got away from football, But what I was really thrilled about is that I could just sit, and Jennifer's the big Packers fan. I'm guilty by association, but I could just sit and watch a football game. I didn't have to make notes for the post-game show that you and I do, and and I didn't really have. I mean, I was rooting for Green Bay, but I didn't have any real
skin in the game.
Right. I didn't have any emotional investment like I do every week when I sit and watch a Grizzly game. I could just sit and be a fan and watch a football game. And in spite of the wind and the rain, I enjoyed that. So,
well, it's all part of the Lambeau experience.
Yeah, which just looks like, it just looks like they dropped it down into a small city. Green Bay appears to have, it's kind of an old soul. It's not what you would call a new, modern, up-to-date city, but just the way it's situated in the town and all the stuff that surrounds it and how you can see it from so far away. And yeah, it had a real feel-good experience to it.
Well, that's awesome. Once in a lifetime trip, Denny. Hey, now it's back to work.
Yes, we need to practice for Saturday, probably.
We do, and I was just going to say, we leave town and we come back and aren't in trouble. Other people take the bye week and leave town and get in a little bit of trouble,
which you will address later in the show. But that is such an unfortunate, frustrating deal. Especially when you feel like, man, we are riding high. We got some momentum going here. Things are looking pretty good.
We're talking about Justin Strong, strong safety for the Grizz, who, to say the least, kind of put himself in a bad situation. And we'll address that a little bit, but we won't jump to any conclusions on that as well.
No, we will not.
We know how that goes. Our guest tonight, head soccer coach, University.
Speaking of a team doing good,
that's right, Mark Plakorus. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good. Because funny, I was in Butte last night watching Cameron's game, and they misspelled or mispronounced his last name.
How?
8 times. I mean,
how?
Well, I don't know. Cameron Gernstey, and I'm like, where's the T in that? There's no T. Gumsey, which I understand because the R and the N kind of flow together.
Yeah. It was
maybe the 4th time they got it right, but you never know how people pronounce their names.
It was so funny. The maroon and silver scrimmages for Montana Grizzly and Lady Grizz basketball were last night. And I got to meet, I didn't ask Nick his official title. He is an assistant in the sports information department. Nick Hollisley. I probably butchered it there, but I got to meet Nick last night. We've swapped emails back and forth, and he writes some articles. And so I said, Nick, are you a guy that I can go over a few of the new men's team's players with, just to make sure I got the names right? He said, yeah. So there's not very many. We have a young man from Sarajevo, and so I just wanted to make sure I got Admir Bezovic right. Wasn't too hard. And we got to the young man from Norway, and it's Lars, and it's spelled ESPE. And so I said, "Is it Espe, Nick?" And he says, "Well, no, it's more like It's more like an A sound."
Spay.
Spay. I said, "Okay, all right, thank you, appreciate it." Then he comes back a couple minutes later. He says, it's not really an A. It's more like a eh. I said, "Are you?" It's sort of like Espe. Yeah, as long as
you're like,
as long as you can make, as long as you but it kind of makes a little ace. He was trying so hard to make sure he was absolutely make it perfect.
I don't see any umlauts or any
no
marks
dots
above
or anything
there,
above it or like that. But so we kind of settled on Espe with a little bit of a little dash of A thrown in there, but it's not SB, it's not Espe, it's somewhere in between.
Well, how'd the guys look?
I think that a couple of them are as advertised. Our junior transfer who sat out last year, Jamar Ako, when he gets his hands on the ball down low, it's probably going in, regardless if he's fouled. I will say this, and again, it's just a scrimmage, and then it's not necessarily, 6 or 8 attempts is not necessarily defining how you shoot at the free throw line, but you hope that based on how he shot at the free throw line, that the young man's not a liability toward the end of games, shall we say.
A la Shaq.
Yeah, because I would say he is the real deal. They recruited a 6'5", 6'6" shooter from North Idaho College, Nico Bevins, long-range bomber. He was as advertised. And, Ahmad Rory kind of looked like Ahmad Rory, where he just kind of lets the game come to him. and at his pace, and sort of, well, I guess I'll score one now. Well, I guess I'll pass or dish it off now, I guess. So I think there's a lot of promise there. The two big men, again, Besovic being one of them from Sarajevo, and the freshman from Wyoming who's 6'10". The two big young players we've got. A lot of work to do as far as footwork and a few other things. I don't know if you can redshirt both of them or not, given that they're both centers, but that might be something that Coach DeCure is looking at. But on the whole, pretty impressed. And
what about the ladies?
The Lady Grizz, they're kind of back to where they were last year. They are minus, of course, Alicia Harris and Kaylee Valley. Again, they won't play. Last night, Taylor Goligoski, who was a freshman phenom last year, she was injured, so she did not play. I don't think it's, maybe hamstringy, something like that. Not something that you assume is very long term, but she was not involved in the maroon silver scrimmage last night. So you're real shorthanded again, and you kind of, Coach Schwain is going to have to look and go, okay, what freshman that I was going to redshirt am I not going to redshirt? But luckily, all those freshmen who got valuable playing time last year, I think it showed. I saw a lot more confidence in them. Not just freshmen, but a couple of the juniors too played a lot more confident. But they're going to lack some size, and they're probably going to struggle somewhat again till they get it all figured out. But you could see those kids that sort of weren't quite sure where they were supposed to be or what they were doing last year. The freshman, that's gone.
Sure,
there.
Sure.
Yeah. And
not so much deer in the headlights, but
exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was nice to see.
Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, it'll build some character, if nothing else. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Wait, Denny, why don't we get to some trivia before we get to Mark Plakorus?
Yes, UM Grizzly Soccer coach Mark Plakorus waiting to visit with us. We're excited about that. So let's get after trivia. It's brought to you by Fuddruckers and on North Reserve, and by Happy Days Car Wash on Brooks. You want the best car wash in town? You go to Happy Days. You got to try out those phenomenal new vacuums they've got right behind the bay there at Happy Days. And this is a gift card for the Works Car Wash, best car wash in town at Happy Days. And from Fuddruckers, world's greatest hamburgers. Whatever you order off that amazing menu at Fuddruckers, you tell them how you want it cooked. They call out your name, you come get it, and then you go over to the prep tables and you just pile on all your favorite toppings. You top it yourself at Fuddruckers. Nice selection of local microbrewers there as well. So $10 gift card to Fuddruckers and a gift card for the Works Car Wash at Happy Days. 721-1290 if you can answer our trivia. We'll get to this too. Football, Montana Grizzlies are in Ogden Saturday to face Weber State in a very important Big Sky Conference matchup. Now, the Wildcats don't have the notoriety that Montana does in terms of accomplished NFL players, but they have definitely had some players drafted over the years. So tonight's topic, what Wildcat are you? You were a wide receiver from 06 to 09. You had good but not spectacular career numbers, yet you managed to earn the famous Mr. Irrelevant moniker for being the last guy chosen in the 2010 NFL Draft. Are you A, Alfred Pupunu, B, Paul McQuiston, or C, Tim Toon? You were the last guy drafted in the 2010 draft. Are you A, Alfred Pupunu, B, Paul McQuiston, or C, Tim Toon? We want to unload this treasure trove of prizes, Gurns, at 721-1290 on Need Me a Winner.
I believe I played against two of those guys, Denny.
I was going to ask you about that.
I think so.
I was kind of looking for the Guernsey era, and I wasn't sure if I hit it or not.
Well, and you only hit one wide receiver on the bunch, too. Yeah. So, hey, when we come back, the answer to our trivia question and the head coach for the University of Montana soccer team, Mark Plakorus, when we come back on Sports Talk Tonight.
721-1290.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk Tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
We are back. Sports Talk Tonight. Brought to you in part by the Orange Street Food Farm, locally owned and operated grocery store featuring the freshest fruits and vegetables, fresh meats, and a great beer and wine selection. By Grizzly Liquor, located downtown next to the Iron Horse, Big Sky Big Selection, and online at grizzlyliquor.com. And by the Ranch Club, golf, dining, entertainment, events, and the incredible pool. Visit them online at ranchclub.com, located just off Mullen Road. Denny, we got Patrick on the phone?
We do. We have Patrick of Florence fame on the phone for trivia. How are you, Patrick? Oops, hold on a second. There we go. How you doing there, Patrick?
Hey, I'm living the dream. How about you guys?
Likewise. You know, it's hard not to live the dream when you work with Scott Guernsey, I promise you.
Yeah.
Well, the Grizz are in Ogden on Saturday, taking on the Weber State Wildcats. This one's really important, and of course, the Wildcats don't have quite the notoriety as the Grizz for NFL players, but they've sent some there. And you were a wide receiver from 06 to 09. You had good but not great career numbers, but you managed to earn the famous Mr. Irrelevant moniker for being the last guy chosen in the 2010 NFL Draft. Are you A, Alfred Papunu, B, Paul McQuiston, or C, Tim Toon? What do you think, Patrick?
Mr. Toon.
Even Guernsey knew that one.
Yes, sir.
Drafted 255th in 2010 by the Detroit Lions. Did mostly practice squad time with not only the Lions, but Broncos, Falcons, Saints through 2013.
You got a couple of different cups of coffee.
Yeah. I think Alfred Papunu,
tight end, played a lot at San Diego for the Chargers.
Yeah, very good.
And Paul McQuiston was a twin.
Right.
And I
listen to you.
Paul and Pat McQuiston, if I remember correctly.
You are just lighting this trivia question up.
They're about 6'7", 325 pounds.
And Paul, his most successful years were with the Seahawks. Does that sound right, or was that the other?
You know, most people's are.
Yeah. But one of those was pre-Gurns and one of those was post-Gurns. Were they not?
Toon was post. Papunu was when I was there, I think, the first couple years, and I might have caught McQuiston's early years. So, but who knows?
We were looking for Tim Toon. Patrick knew that. Hey, we really appreciate you listening, Pat. We're glad you're part of the Sports Talk Tonight family, and we'll get your prize package mailed out to you, okay?
Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Patrick from Florence, our latest winner there. Scott?
All right. Fan number 34? Listener?
Yeah. According to our executive producer. Because Kyle
Twitter.
Stenzer,
hey, I'm on the radio. Twitter.
He did a good job. Eric Tabor, who had to cancel out last minute, felt terrible about it, but I said, Kyle, I'm desperate. I need you, man. So he stepped up, needed a good job. Our thanks to Amy Just, who is the Grizzly football beat reporter for the Missoulian and 406mtsports.com. She was our guest. I told her, hey, we'll only keep you 20 minutes. I think we made her stay about 45. So she probably had plenty of Kyle and Denny by the time the evening was done.
She was ready to get out of here.
Almost. She did say, though, that, hey, no, I guess I don't mind staying because I just have to go back to work when I'm done here. So
she goes, where's that loudmouth kid that's usually here with you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, he's down in Vegas.
And I promised her when I met her, I said, Scott Guernsey, a former player, is she's probably Googling away, and then you're not here.
Yeah.
What a disappointment.
Yeah. Hey, we are happy, not just disappointed at all, to welcome Mark Plakorus, the head coach for University of Montana soccer program here in Stuart with us. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
You bet. Gearing up for the Big Sky Conference tourney, huh?
Yep. We have one more game this Friday, and then we'll head to the conference tournament next week.
We got the maroon and white out game.
Maroon out Friday.
Maroon out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Senior day, of course. And you got 10?
10 seniors.
Wow.
Wow. Big class. Very big class.
Kind of an emotional day in that regard. I think also, we can bring it up later, but since I'm asking, I think you also have a day camp going on Sunday. Am I right?
Yeah, Sunday we're doing a high school ID camp. Sunday morning. We should have about 30, 40 kids coming in from all over the western U.S.
Is that a recruiting tool?
It is. It definitely is a recruiting tool. It helps us out a little bit. Gets players on campus to be around us and see campus and us to work with them and do another evaluation on them.
Now, are these kids that you guys they're on your radar already? It's an invite only type of a thing.
No, it's a thing where we advertise it to everyone, and we get some kids who we know about, some kids we don't, and we just kind of see who shows up and go from there.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the highlights in your head? What are some of the pleasant surprises, things that have jumped out at you, and what has been a pretty dang good season so far for Grizzly Soccer?
So far, it's been very good season for us. I was worried. Sometimes when I put a schedule together, I don't realize how hard it is, and this was definitely the toughest schedule we've had since I've been here. We played 4 Mountain West Conference schools. We played 2 Pac-12 schools, 2 Big Ten schools. a Missouri Valley school in northern Iowa that was undefeated and unscored on when we played them after 6 games. So it was a really tough schedule for us, and the team just did a great job with it, and we started off the conference season a little bit rocky. We were kind of hit a little hiccup there, but really proud of the girls putting it back together and getting us going, and we've been playing great soccer lately, and really excited for the game Friday and next week.
I always like to ask, especially since I don't know, what kind of style do you guys play with? What's the makeup of your team?
Well, our team, we're a very athletic team, very big team too. I mean, my friends laugh at me when they see me because I think everybody on the team is bigger than me. And I've got like 3 or 4 kids who are 6 foot, and
wow.
So we're very athletic, and we like to play fast. We like to basically attack teams, whether we have the ball or we're on defense. We try to dictate the tempo of the game, and we try to attack the goal as much as we can. And we've been a little rough for us scoring goals lately, but we're getting tons of shots, so I'm not too disappointed with that. And just hopefully they keep going our way.
And lots of shots, but not quite as many goals as you'd like, because get a little tight there when they're trying to finish great goalies. Or
it's just hard. It's hard to score in this sport. The hardest thing to do in this sport is to put the ball in the goal. It's not just, you're not just beating an opponent. You have to put the ball in a kind of a small area, and we just been unlucky sometimes. Sometimes the keeper makes a great save, and you're just like, how did you do that? But I figure those things will all even out in the end. For as long as we're creating the opportunities, that's the important thing.
And you mentioned for Senior Day coming up Friday against Portland State, 10 seniors. I think that there's probably a lot of people don't realize how many athletes are on a college soccer team outside of football. You probably are one of the bigger programs in terms of numbers of players that you have.
Yeah, we have 32 on our roster this year, and we'll vary between 28 and 32. The largest I've ever had since I've been here is 34 in 2014. You always want to have 3 or 4 goalkeepers if you can, and then about 24 to 26 field players usually, because you always have 3 or 4 injuries, and you want to be able to play 11v11 in practice, and so you have quite a few out there.
Wow! And this is we're talking to Mark Plakorus, head coach of the University of Montana soccer program. 7th year here, Coach?
Yes, my 7th year.
What brought you to Montana?
Well, I was stationed in the Air Force in Great Falls back in the mid-'90s, and when I was a little kid, my dad was actually stationed at Malmstrom as well, and so I fell in love with Montana when I was older. And when I left Great Falls, I was coming back every summer to do a camp up in Kalispell, Montana, and I was always trying to, especially when I got out of the Air Force and into coaching, always like keep my eye on being able to come back here. Problem is, there's only one job, and so just kind of went through my coaching career when this came open, put in for it, and was very fortunate to get hired here.
You mentioned, the only Division I soccer program in the state of Montana, which means Montana State does not have one. So given that,
well, even if they did.
But I'm getting at the whole brawl angle. I'm getting at the brawl angle, Gurns. Who do the players, the fans, Coach Plakorus, who is Montana's biggest rival as a soccer opponent in the Big Sky?
The Big Sky is a little tough one for me because I measure us on a bigger scale.
Okay.
I want our program to build and be able to beat Washington State on a regular basis and the other Pac-12 schools. And that's what we recruit for. That's what we train for. That's what we try to lift our level towards. And I think if we're able to play at that level, then we should be all right in the Big Sky.
I like that attitude.
Yeah,
because I think that's where we should be too.
Yeah, no,
guys, it's not like basketball. It's Division I. You're at the highest level.
Yeah,
right. I mean, unlike football, which I wouldn't mind beating Washington State every year, but
sure.
Maybe not this year.
It's hard to beat them, that's for sure. We tied them this year, though, so I'll take that.
So we better go to Washington and get some of those more talented Washington kids so we can beat Washington State. How about how has recruiting changed over the 7 years you've been with us? Have you had to or wanted to broaden, expand that? Have inquiries come from further away, or where are we at on recruiting?
Well, basically, I try to stay in the Western U.S. I always look here in Montana first. That's the place I want to have, players come and play for us, and then I try to hit the bigger cities in the West. You know, Seattle and Portland and Northern California, Southern California, and I always like Denver and Boise and places like that. But we've had kids from Chicago. You know, there's a couple of young ladies that I'm looking at from Dallas because I used to coach down there, so I have a few connections down there. So I'll go anywhere. If somebody wants to come be a Grizzly and they're good enough, I'll take them.
How I tell you what, I'm from Seattle and grew up playing soccer. I don't know, until I was about 12 years old, but I can't believe how crazy people get for the Sounders and for is it the Timbers still?
Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts over there.
Yeah, it's pretty passionate fan bases, and it's very popular, you know, and it's been growing and growing, you know, for the last 20, 30 years. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger, you know, and these MLS teams they're making a lot of money, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does my good friend, the Montana High School Coach of the Year, Jay Anderson, does he call it to give you advice?
No,
he knows it all?
He hasn't called me yet. Yeah.
Just joking, Jay. Jay's my buddy.
Well, and you mentioned recruiting Montana, Mark, and we've had volleyball coaches in here as well. Probably not a bad place to recruit because soccer programs and volleyball programs in the state of Montana, they seem to hold their own. They do okay, and it's very popular.
Yeah, they do pretty well. You know, it's a thing where a lot of that I run into is some of the kids, if they're good enough to play Division I, you know, they're getting opportunities at Pac-12 schools and things like that, and they go, and so, you know, we were fortunate. Lexa Coyle stayed here in the state
from Bozeman,
from Bozeman, and she's been fantastic as a young freshman for us this year. And you know, but the soccer here in the state is getting better. You know, back when I lived in Great Falls and coached in Great Falls and everything, it's definitely a lot better than it was back then, and it's just going to keep getting better and better.
Pretty cool, the new facilities we've got, the Champion Center. How
that thing's unbelievable.
That makes it a little bit easier to
I tell you, you know, it's you just walk in there and you're blown away, you know, and you see the commitment by the university and the fans that donated the money to build it, and the Washington family to help us continue to grow and continue to be stronger in all our sports. You know, it's pretty special, and it's really neat to be a part of that.
I think you nailed it right there when you said all sports, because this isn't a football guy thing. It's not a basketball. It's UM athletics, and that has to make you feel pretty proud and pretty special.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it's something that you don't get in a lot of programs around the country. Usually they're thinking of football first, and to have a facility that's that special and is available for all of us is just fantastic, and it definitely will make things a lot easier for us.
Now the indoor practice facilities on your radar too, because that's good for the soccer program. They can.
I would love that.
Play during the winter,
because when we train in the spring, we train at 6 a.m. in the football stadium. It's a little cold.
Hello.
It's a little cold, and the players they judge practices. They call them full puffy practices, and if they have to wear their puffy jackets the whole practice, that's cold.
Hey, well, you got some more time?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we come back more with Mark Plakorus, head soccer coach at the University of Montana. When we come back, Sports Talk Tonight.
Sports Talk Tonight, live from the KGVO studio.
Missoula Sports.
We are back. Sports Talk Tonight, brought to you in part by Bell McCall Ford. Great selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Bell McCall is your locally owned low-cost auto dealer for over 100 years in downtown Hamilton. And by Granite Pharmacy, locally owned and operated pharmacy on South Avenue between Shopko and Big Sky High School. Find them at granitepharmacy.com. Get your flu shot today, Denny.
Still on the to-do list. But I promise I will.
I might do it. I don't know.
We could do it on the air during the pregame on Saturday. You want to do it on the statewide tailgate show?
Like Flu Shot Brothers?
Kyle will bring his Granite Pharmacy friends down, and they can live.
Yeah.
Well, for us, the flu shot needles are 14 inches long, according to Kyle. Yeah.
Boy. Well, you know, I got a funny story before we get back to Mark. It's not funny, but when I was a kid in high school, in college, you know, you were always one play away from getting injured, or you were screwing up one time and the guy behind you would come in and he'd be the starter, and you never wanted to miss any time.
Is this your Marvin Turk story again?
No, it's not.
Right.
No, but so I always tell my kid, he's in 7th grade, I say, don't screw around during football season. Don't be playing whatever. Just, you never know when you're going to twist an ankle, you're going to hurt yourself. So you just got to be smart about things. So he's got his championship game tomorrow night, and he's in class today. And all of a sudden, I get everything on the phone. And it says he's absent in one of his classes. I'm like, what the heck? I get a phone call from my ex-wife about 10 minutes later, and I'm like, oh, crap.
Can't be good.
And I go, what happened? What'd he do? She goes, well, he's at the nurse's office. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, he might need stitches. He was carving a pumpkin in class, and they were using a chisel for some reason, and it slipped, and it 6 stitches on his index finger. So I'm like, Cameron, I said, I know you weren't screwing around, but this is what I'm talking about. Now you're missing the dang game. I don't know where I was going with that. Just be careful during season.
You just had to vent a little bit.
I did.
Kids.
I did.
You had to do a kids these days.
Well, I feel bad for him because he wanted to play.
Well, of course you do. Well, no, I bet he's brokenhearted.
But now I don't have to drive over and watch it because I was there last night and then tonight.
We need to get back to the coach of our now regionally ranked soccer team.
So don't let the kids screw around on the field before the Big Sky Conference tournament, Coach.
Yeah.
Got it.
No carving pumpkins.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to carve one there. I might go blow one up, but I ain't carving it.
Our guest head coach Mark Plakorus from Montana Grizzly Soccer. Make sure I get this right now. The United Soccer Coaches West Region ranking. You are recognized at number 15 this week. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
What's all involved there? I mean, usually when you hear about rankings, it's an overall national umbrella, but this is regionalized.
Yeah, there's 5 regions in the U.S. when it comes to soccer, and our region encompasses the Big Sky Conference, the Pac-12, the West Coast Conference, the Big West Conference, the Mountain West Conference, the WAC, and all them. And so it's a pretty formidable group of teams.
Yeah.
And so they recognize 15 teams in each region, and then there's a national top 25 as well. So it's pretty neat to be in there.
Do they do that because there's so many, like, I guess, different levels of schools in each region?
Yeah, well, a lot. There used to be 8 regions, and used to be top 10 in each region, and then the NCAA decided to kind of standardize all their sports, and they went with 5 regions, and there's a Power 5 conference in each of the regions, and then whatever other conferences are around get put into that region. And the Western region it's some pretty good soccer.
That's where they play some ball.
Yeah, they get after it.
Well, just looking further at our release here to put it a little bit in perspective too, a couple of the Montana's opponents, Washington State, they're number 9 in the region. San Jose State 11, so they're both ranked ahead of Montana. Well, you held the Cougars scoreless in a double overtime draw last September, and late August you beat San Jose State 4-1, which. That's kind of a spanking in the world of college soccer.
It was a good game. It was definitely a good game.
Showed them the way to San Jose.
Yeah, they did. That's great. So a lot on the line, not only for your seniors, of course, but there's a lot on the line when you play Portland State Friday afternoon.
There is. If we can come out with a good result and get a win, we'll finish second in the Big Sky this year, and we'll get a bye in the conference tournament and to the semifinal round next week. So it's a pretty big game.
And how many? There's a national tournament, I would assume.
Yeah, you win it's just like basketball. You got to win. You got to win the Big Sky tournament to go into the NCAA tournament.
How many teams are in that?
There's 64.
64. Mm-hmm. Oh wow. Mm-hmm. Cool.
To talk a little bit about if you would please talk a little bit about your seniors. You mentioned 10 of them. I imagine some of those kids have become pretty special to not only you but the Montana Grizzly Soccer program.
Yeah, it's a very talented group of players. A couple girls from here in Montana, and Allie Lucas and Maddie Emmerich, both from Billings, who are both fantastic players. Then we have a few girls from Seattle, Chanel Peterson, who's our outside back, and Charlene Berger, who's a midfielder. We call her Shark. It's a little easier to say than Charlene. And, we have a young lady who's a goalkeeper, Maddie Vincent, who was actually born in Butte but raised in Des Moines. Her father, Matt Vincent, was the mayor of Butte for a while. and her step grandfather's even.
Yeah, when I saw a kid when I saw a kid from Des Moines on the roster, I kind of wondered, wow, what's the recruiting connection there?
Yeah. So Maddie, it's been great having her around as well, and we got Caitlin Crowell, who's a midfielder from Klamath Falls, Oregon. She's had a great career for us. Lily Obergewich, who is from North Dakota, and she's done well for us. This group has been so special. Their freshman year was 2014 when we went undefeated in the conference and unfortunately lost in the conference tournament.
Right.
But every year that they've been here, we've qualified for the conference tournament, and they've helped lift our level of play up much higher. And it's been a lot of fun having them around, and it's going to be sad to see them go, but they're just a special group, and I think very highly of them.
Out of those 10 seniors, how many are starters?
Probably half of them.
Pretty good nucleus coming back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Scott and I have talked a lot this year, not only on this show but on our on the football pregame. How much has been made of the University of Montana football program being a much closer group? How much they mean to each other and how they support each other. And that was talked about last year, but you kind of get a read that it wasn't quite as sincere and genuine as it is this year. I have to imagine that your team is very similar in that way.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that we emphasize with our team all the time is, we're your family away from your family. And, when it's all said and done, talent is great, but the closer you are and the more committed you are to each other and the more you'll sacrifice for each other, you're going to be successful. It's going to overcome sometimes talent deficits. It's going to help you overcome adversity and just put you in a better position to be successful. And it's a lot more fun to be out there with people you really care about and are committed to as well.
Kind of a bummer this year, the men's U.S. team didn't qualify for the World Cup.
It's a little frustrating. Well, that's for sure.
I
was thinking about going to Russia. I'm not going now.
I love it when they do well, men's and women's. It seems like the excitement level, the soccer takes another step forward.
Does.
Oh yeah.
Whenever we are represented well at the World Cup. Yeah,
it definitely does. Part of the growth of the sport in our country has been every 4 years that we've gone to a World Cup, and you see all the passion that the fans have for it and how exciting it is to see the United States playing, because that's one thing that in our country, whether it's an Olympics or anything like that, when a national team's playing, we get behind them.
Yeah.
And it's definitely helped grow the sport over the last 20, 30 years, and it's definitely a big blow to us. To not have this opportunity.
How are the fans in Missoula? Speaking of,
they're great. I mean,
getting behind you.
We'll have anywhere from sometimes over 500 people at our games, and sometimes it's hard to get to our games because we don't have lights at our stadium, so we have to play in the afternoon. But we still get a great group of people out there, and they really follow us and support us. And I can't say enough about them. Missoula's a great soccer town. Yeah, absolutely great town.
Well, before we let you go, we got to have you size up the competition, because as we talked about, big game on Friday. You're 10-6-3 overall this year, and you do get a spot. You're guaranteed a spot in the tournament, but you can wrap up the number 2 seed and buy into the semis with a win Friday against Portland State. Size up the Vikings a little bit. What do you expect on Friday afternoon?
Well, it's Portland State's a team that they started off really, really hot in conference, and they've kind of run into a little bit of some problems the last few games. They've dropped some games, but they're a very talented team, very good attacking team. And it's a team that I think will give us some problems unless we can keep the ball from them. We need to make them chase a little bit and take advantage of being at home, because they play on turf back in Portland. And so playing on grass is a little different. And so we need to take advantage of that and really, really put them under pressure right from the beginning.
Looking at the numbers here, it says you rank 29th nationally out of 322 Division I teams as far as goals allowed per game average. Strong defense. Did that surprise you at all? How good they've played defensively this year, or was that kind of an expectation of a team with that many seniors on it?
Well, I mean, I expected us to be a pretty solid defensive team. The young ladies we have at center back for us have they're juniors this year, and they've sat behind a couple people and really got to learn over the last 2 years, and they've stepped in really well. And then, we got a couple seniors at outside back, which, so we have a lot of experience in our back line to understand how we defend and the things we do. And we needed it because, our goalkeeper's a redshirt freshman. So they're really good in front of her, and she's fantastic in goal. So they feed off each other really well. And it's something we pride ourselves on, and making it difficult to play against us. And we really don't like giving up, not just goals. We don't like giving up shots.
7 shutouts this year, and looking for one more against Portland State.
I get it.
Exactly. We got to get that one.
Awesome.
3:00 Friday afternoon at South Campus Stadium. Wear your maroon if you can get over there and cheer on the Grizzly soccer team.
Maroon out.
Yep.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck, and get us the Big Sky Conference championship. Huh?
All righty, that's the plan. Thanks a lot for having me.
You
Yes,
bet.
sir.
Mark Plakorus, head soccer coach, University of Montana. Get out there Friday at 3:00 for that game against Portland State, and cheer on the Lady Grizz for a victory. When we come back, we've got a Justin Strong update and the Steel and the Stupid. After this, Sports Talk Tonight.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk Tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
On our 2-minute break,
Multitasking.
Gurns had time to take a damn survey. I was just going to hang up when they were saying your GMC factory warranty is expired, and I don't own the damn thing. I just said the D word twice. Allergy mold survey. No, and
They
no.
must have been listening to Sports Talk Tonight because they called the minute we went to break, and so you had 2 minutes there to take the survey.
Sports Talk Tonight is brought to you in part by Allergy Surveys. No, just joking. By the Peak Health and Wellness, with 3 premier facilities in Missoula and a dedicated staff to help you achieve and maintain your health and wellness goals. By Jerry Wessel's Tire Center, the locally owned Les Schwab Tire Center provides the best tire value promise. Visit them online at jerrywesselstirecenter.com. And by CHS Mountain West Co-op, Western Montana's source for Cenex fuel, feed, fertilizer, clothing, and tack for over 75 years. We'd like to thank head coach Mark Plakorus from the
Good guy.
Montana Grizzly Soccer program. He is brought to you, as all our guests are, by First Montana Bank, your home for free centennial checking, plus unlimited cash back every time you use your debit card online at firstmontanabank.com.
All right, I'm going to throw out an appeal. I'm going to beg for money. I'm not going to beg real loud here, or hard here. I'll give myself 1 minute to do this. Boy, do I have a busy day on Saturday because about the time we get done with the post game for Grizz at Weber State football, I got to dash over to Westside Lanes and Fun Center. Why? Because every year I participate in Big Brothers Big Sisters Bowl for Kids' Sake. Huge fundraiser, very, very important to that program. So what I do is I get my pledge sheet, and I go calling on clients and associates and things like that. And I ask for your pledge, for your support for Big Brothers Big Sisters. And it's not a per pin thing. It's just a flat fee. It can be $10. It can be $5. It can be $5 bazillion, whatever. If you would like to support me for Big Brothers Big Sisters, go ahead and drop me an email because we're off the air here in a few minutes. We won't take phone calls because we got to talk on the radio anyway. But you could send me an email and say, yeah, Denny, I'd like to pledge you a 10 or put me down for a 20 or whatever you want to do. So just send those emails. My email address, real simple, denny@kissfm.com, denny@kyssfm.com if you would like to be one of my sponsors for Big Brothers Big Sisters Bowl for Kids' Sake. denny@kyssfm.com. I did it in 58 seconds.
Whatever I have in my pocket on Saturday, Denny, I'll give to you.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Gurns.
Well, that might not be anything. It might be lint.
Yeah. All right.
But,
I'll remind you. I won't let you forget that.
Please do. Steal of the week, Denny. Well, let's go to Steal.
It is time for Scott Guernsey's Steal of the Week. That brought to you by, by the way, they will send you a statement, an invoice, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Don't feel like you have to come running down with lint in your pocket like Guernsey and pay me because they will send you a statement.
How much time do we have left, Denny?
We've got lots of time.
Okay,
7 or 8 minutes.
Good.
Steal of the Week is brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality, manufactured, and fabricated steel products.
Oh, can it happen again? The basketball gods. I was gone last Wednesday, so this is a little late, but Kaylee Valley and Alicia Sims Harris both lost again for the year. Just another punch in the gut to Coach Shannon Swain and that program. But it happened to them last year, and by the end of the season, they were playing pretty good. They know what to do. Those kids are a year older. Coach is a year wiser. And
I think that's important, too.
But they were stolen from the Lady Grizz basketball program by the basketball gods. That's my steal of the week.
Wasn't quite sure where you were going with that, but
I get there eventually.
You make a very good point. So we're behind them, and we're cheering for them. We're excited to see how much those freshmen progressed, as well as players that are now juniors like J.C. Henderson and Sierra Anderson. We'll see how they've come along too. Looked pretty good last night. That is your steal of the week, brought to you by True North Steel.
All right, stupid athlete. I got a runner up, Denny. Runner up, Martavis Bryant.
Okay.
Wide receiver, Pittsburgh Steelers, was the starter. Hasn't been seeing a lot of balls, hasn't done a lot this year, and he goes out and to national media and starts complaining about how now he wants to be traded and I want to get out of here and blah, blah, blah. And then, mandatory meeting, I believe, on Tuesday, and he just decides to skip it. And so, funny, he got demoted to scout team today. So there's my runner-up for just keep your mouth shut and do your job.
All right. That means that we have a first-place finisher ahead of the runner-up.
We do, and this is interesting. So by now, you've all heard that Justin Strong got in an incident over at Washington State. Justin Strong, our starting strong safety. Little brother plays at Washington State, right. And on the bye week, he wants to go. I don't know if his brother's playing or if he's a starter or what, but probably hasn't ever seen him play in college unless he got lucky, and goes over there and it's unclear as to what happened, except there was a fight and self-defense, and
it's a whole lot of he said right now.
Yeah, it's witnesses both ways. He gets arrested, charged with a second-degree assault, which is a felony. There's no judge in that county over the weekend, so he's got to stay in jail until Monday. But then they release him, and on his own recognizance, no bond, 2 states away. So that's kind of an interesting little deal. There's a code of conduct at the University of Montana where if you're charged with a felony, then it's almost an automatic. You're indefinitely suspended. But I don't think he was ever officially charged with it. It's very muddied. But it just came out. Our director, our producer, our grand poobah, Kyle Stensrud, he just been announced that Justin Strong has been suspended for 2 games. And I'm sure that the university's made phone calls to over there and probably have talked to law enforcement, and they probably have talked to who knows, to see if they can get as much information as possible. And I don't know if that's a 2-game suspension until they find out less, they find out more. But I will tell you this. That coaching staff preached and preached and preached about staying out of trouble and just relaxing this weekend and keep your eye on the prize and the big picture. And I get it. Justin wanted to go see his brother play football, which, who wouldn't? It's family. I mean, come on. But end up at a house party, fight breaks out. Just you put yourself, and many players have done it. It's happened to me. It's happened to professionals. It's happened to, everybody in the world can put themselves into it. Not just athletes, but
I think your point right there is it's going to happen. I don't care. It's going to happen. If I understand it correctly, the Cougars played on Saturday. They beat Colorado. This incident happened on Friday night, right?
Yeah.
So you've left Missoula on Friday, presumably. You're there. This all goes. This isn't like a celebration after the Cougars' victory over Colorado. This all happens before. That doesn't make it any worse, any better. But in my mind, I think it even increases the odds. And but to your point, Gurns, it's just going to happen. And man, to not stop and gather yourself and think in those terms, not only disappoints but surprises.
Well, it's happened. It's happened too many times. Whether you're a bad kid or you're a good kid or whatever. I mean, and by all accounts, he's the one that took a couple shots, and then stuff happened. I don't know, but it's just I don't know. Hope you learn from it, and hope nothing more comes of it. Hope everybody's okay. But that just goes to show you how quickly you can lose something in just a blink of an eye.
Oh, yeah. And he seems like the kind of guy that team means so much to him. Team to him is family. He talked about he came here. He transferred from Oregon State because things were not going the way he'd wanted them to there, and so he came here. Why did he come here? Because if it was okay with mom, then it was. If it was good enough for mom, it was good enough for him.
Yeah.
So team unity and family, and you let a lot of people down with your actions.
Well, and I tell you what, if somebody punches me, I'm probably punching them back.
Sure.
I mean, just because that's your natural reaction.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Weber State. I tell you what, though, Denny, this is the game of the year. A tough Weber team.
Yeah. Kind of making believers out of some folks.
It's always tough to play down there, and they're number one defense in the Big Sky this week, going against the number one offense.
Should be good.
So it should be good, and this week should open up the Big Sky.
And since we don't have to play them this year, not worry about them. Congrats to Southern Utah too. They're surprising a few people this year.
That's right. Thank you for taking care of Eastern Washington. Something we couldn't do, but hey,
Yeah. Gerns and I will be on the air at noon with the statewide tailgate show right here, and kick off a little after 2 with Roddy Corkin and Greg Sundberg, and then we'll be back for part of the postgame too. Hope to see you on the radio Saturday, Gerns.
All right, Denny. Take care. Sports Talk tonight. We're out of here.